speaking of Don Jr. and the army of stupid that he hangs out in, this is our final video for the night, I think. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I may have some room for another one. We'll see. This is Tucker saying, what is the point of having a government? Now, I know what you're thinking. I know. A lot of these, hold on, I'm going to go to the filters and edit them. Nope, sorry. I got to turn off the green screen filter in case it makes something weird later on. I know what a lot of you are thinking, you know, shouldn't, here we go. All right, now that's done. Why even listen to what Tucker Carlson is saying? Because Tucker Carlson doesn't even know what Tucker Carlson is saying. But I mean, a lot of areas I think we can agree on a few things, you know.
I like wood, deeper and longer.
So we shall see whether he makes this case. Why would we want a government? Now this might sound like a CCP or a Russian talking point trying to weasel its way into the American electorate. Oh, but I know.
It's the police. It's the military. Hundreds of Navy SEALs, the estimate is, could soon lose their job.
Hundreds could soon lose their job. Or infect everyone else in our military with a disease that could kill them, which would leave us at a strategic disadvantage to the rest of the world.
And throughout the other services, Marine Corps, Air Force, Army, Navy. Can we afford that? At the state level, this is...
Yeah, I mean, we'll save money, I suppose, on you know, white supremacists who were just joining so they could learn how to fight, so they could start a war inside the country, and that's why they won't take the vax. I mean, it's an interesting way to weed out the bad apples.
Really painful. Entire counties in the state of Maine, for example, will lose paramedic services tonight because of a vaccine mandate. It takes effect at midnight.
Yes, that's what you want. Anti-vax EMTs.
What does this mean for people who live in the state of Maine? Lisa Keim is a state senator from the state, and we're happy to have her on tonight. Senator, thanks so much for coming on. Give us a sense of what this will mean for people in the state of Maine.
Thank you, Tucker. Yes, tonight, as you said, at midnight, EMS workers will no longer be answering calls. And we don't know on the state level how many have been let go. But
now, I know what you thought at the beginning of that sentence. You were like, EMS is not going to be answering calls, meaning all of them are gone. And anyone who wants an ambulance is fucked. If you're going to get injured before midnight. And then that second sentence.
Midnight, EMS workers will no longer be answering calls. And we don't know on the state level how many have been let go. But there will be 911 calls that go unanswered in the state of Maine. And
no, they won't. 911 call centers are not are not losing people. And EMTs who are going there will either double up or be going someplace else, or they will be diverting stuff if there is a shortage, which apparently she doesn't even know if there is.
The difference here in Maine that's good to understand is that we have already done away with all philosophical and religious exemptions, and it is very difficult to get a medical exemption at all.
You're an EMT technician. You might be picking someone up who has is in the home of someone who has had a heart attack, and everybody else there, like the older person, is on like anti-cancer drugs and therefore can't take the vaccine. And so you're going to send in an EMT that isn't vaccinated.
These EMS workers, they are faced with the choice of feeding their family or taking the vaccine. And I have talked to many people throughout the state.
No, they can feed their families. Do you know how many jobs there are open right now? Chick-fil-A is hiring, I know for sure. Let's see, there's thousands of service jobs where you don't get to save a life. I mean, you literally think they're having to choose between doing that job and not doing it well and doing no job? Whatever happened to work requirements for welfare and all that kind of stuff on the right?
There are definitely dire consequences coming, and we are not sure yet what the impact overall is going to be.
Excuse me. It seemed like, and I know you're both sleeping, so I'll try not to keep you. You were both insinuating at the beginning that in this particular county, wherever you are, there are no EMTs, and you seem to be saying at the beginning that EMS and 911 aren't even answering calls after midnight, like it's some sort of statewide strike, when you don't in fact know how many, if and any at all, are actually leaving.
If your 911 call goes unanswered, what's the point of having a government at that?
Well, I agree. I mean, Republicans have been trying to kill the government for a long time. I mean, the whole premise of the Republican Party these days is to have a government so small that Putin can drown it in a bathtub.
Like, what's the point? And why isn't there a revolt against it?
Yeah, why don't you resign from your position? Here you are, you're the representative of the area. Why don't you quit to show your solidarity with the EMS workers? I mean, under your leadership in the state, they don't have 911 calls are going to go unanswered.
They're absolutely.
Y'all need to make homeless people.
There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be hurt by this, but at this moment,
are there?
No one knows. This really has not been well reported. The people that are living.
So you're just making up the number as if it's significant?
In communities where the entire EMS service or possibly. 50% or a large percentage are no longer.
Possibly 50% or a large percentage or two or Gary.
Working. Those communities don't yet know. This is something that we.
Why don't you find out for them as their representative who is holding representative office in Maine? Here's a good idea. Call Susan Collins and ask her office to find out at midnight how many people are stepping off or not getting vaccinated in the EMT and the 911 system, and how you make up for that shortfall if there is any at all. Instead of waiting till midnight and going, hope nobody dies.
We're going to find out as it unfolds over the next week.
Because that's how you run something. You know, if you're going to have a representative like this, in deference to Tucker, why even have a government?
So people who suffer heart failure or have a stroke and call for an ambulance and it doesn't.
Most people have someone else call when they're in that situation, but sure.
Some of those people will die as a result of this.
Yeah, so these EMT people who won't get the jab, who are walking off, are saying, fuck those people who get heart attacks and stuff. I must show my fealty to Donald John Trump.
That's the most dire consequence of all, and that is one of the major concerns.
And by the way, is his next question, how did Maine become a failed state? Why is there more EMS services in Kabul than in the state of Maine? Who the fuck is running Maine?
So that we have, I spoke with an EMS, the director of Maine.
You spoke with one? Sorry?
The major concerns that we have, I spoke with an EMS, the director of.
You spoke with them. It's a wheel thing. Right.
EMS today, and they have some preliminary numbers, but they won't know until Sunday night how many workers are actually going to be getting.
All right, tell us the preliminary numbers. Tell us the preliminary numbers. Because what is it? 16? 30? 4? How many?
Done. So at this point, it's very strongly like mismanagement to assume that the vaccine mandate is going to work for these people who are actually the most careful of anyone in our society. They understand the transmission and they're careful of their patients.
Are they? Are they? And thank God there are no cases of people being doing everything right and still catching it.
Now we're kicking them out and saying your services are no longer needed. The Maine people don't know.
Right.
Well, that's because you don't know and you're not saying. You apparently have preliminary figures, but you're not sharing those. And Tucker is pretending the entire EMS system is collapsing. May I 1 second. Main. I'll see news probably. Already low staffing right now. A week to get a COVID shot. This is a week ago. Nightmare scenarios, emergency response to EMS is 2 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 6 hours ago. This is the same one. EMS 1. This is their own thing. Nightmare scenarios. Maine fire EMS providers struggle with vaccine rules, staff shortages. The state is set to begin enforcing its mandate. Okay, Lewiston, Maine. Across the area, the mood in fire and rescue stations is glum. Most paramedics and firefighters can already tell you horror stories about difficulties that arise as they try to get fast emergency treatment into patients in distress. EMS services everywhere have suffered staff shortages for years now. With a vaccine mandate going on in effect, the problem has gotten worse, much worse. We're trying to turn around calls as quickly as we can so we can get the truck back in town for the next call, but we're having 55-minute wait times in the emergency room to transfer the patient. You feel horrible taking a patient to the ER knowing they're going to sit there for hours. The ER? They're going to sit in the ER for hours? How's that EMS or fire's responsibility? That's the hospital's problem. Turner Rescue is presently down 2 positions. 2 employees recently left the department. Although it wasn't altogether clear those departures were related to the mandate. Really? The story's from 6 hours ago. For fuck's sake. Being down 2 workers is bad enough, but Bennett, like the other states, talks quite a lot about the trickle-down effect that makes a bad situation worse. Many of our medics also work full-time at bigger departments like Auburn Fire Department. The Auburn Department is also desperately short EMS workers, so when they need someone, and this is general, this has nothing to do with the vaccine mandate, this is just they need people. For men and women who have dedicated their lives to helping people in medical distress, the worsening staff shortage brings about nightmare scenarios. So they're worried about these 2 assholes that quit because that's one crew, one driver crew, or one EMS crew that's in the back in the wagon with the person. We talk about it every day here. We just hope and pray that the patients that we're taking in are generally getting really good care. We worry about our own family members and friends and people who we care about in our community, and yes, it's scary. Let's see. He's going to lose 3 people due to the vaccine mandate out of a staff of 17 workers. Losing 3 is huge for us. We're already strapped pretty badly for people. We've been battling it for over a year now. This isn't helping matters. Most station chiefs said they would like to let their employees decide for themselves whether they want to get vaccinated, but the government mandate is in effect. That's no longer possible. Final deadline for medical workers, October 29th. The state is set to begin enforcing the mandate for medical workers on October 29th. The hardships of rescue, blah, blah, blah. If a person has been in a car wreck, has suffered a heart attack, is a victim of countless possible calamities, the process of getting help and getting to a local hospital for treatment is no longer a clear-cut deal. We're constantly getting text messages about diversions at different hospitals because they're not taking certain patients. That's not an EMS shortage problem. Then we have to explain to the patient, sorry, you can't go to the hospital you wanted to go to because they're not taking anybody right now. The fuck does that have to do with EMS and fire not getting vaccinated? That's a hospital overrun problem because they've got too many COVID patients. For the same reason that these 2 dizzy assholes think it's fine. And it's happening pretty much everywhere. Lisbon emergency is down 4 people. They're down by 3. The rescue department is also down 3 people. 1 lost to retirement, the other 2 to the vaccine mandate. So don't even include that in the story. That's just somebody you don't have on the payroll. You lost 2. They didn't even say what happened to these 4 people, or they just want 4 more people. So we normally in a thing this size, we should have 16 people. We only have 12. And this has nothing to do with the vaccine mandate. They don't have people to hire. And by the way, I have a cousin who is an EMT and goes out in a fucking truck every goddamn day. And it's awful and awful and awful. And I appreciate that he does that work. So, for example, the CMMC temporary shutting down trauma and cardiac admissions. Again, nothing to do with the shortage based on anybody, the vaccine mandate. That causes ambulance to have to transport longer distances. So it takes them longer to get someplace, and then they got to drive back. So they're spreading these folks thin anyways. But which causes longer transport times, which causes less time an ambulance is available to respond on a call during a shift. Yes, they would like to have more, but this is not the same thing as the vaccine mandates have shut down. This is fucking bullshit. Like, I knew it was bullshit, and you could tell it's bullshit because these assholes believe in it, or are selling it. But this is embarrassing. Situation in the Auburn Fire Department, which provides EMS service, seemed to impact all other agencies around it. And the situation in Auburn is not good. For the past several months, we have had 7 vacancies. So this is not from the vaccine mandate. We were fortunate enough to have been able to hire 4 in August. So 3 vacancies. They have just completed their training this week and started to fill our void. That leaves us 3 vacancies. Right. The Auburn Fire Department used to get more job applications than it could handle, but that has changed. Filling job open slots is no longer an easy matter. Yeah, because members of the staff are bragging that they're not going to get the fucking vaccine, and these people are dealing with, like, diseased and injured people all the time. Auburn has about 66 employees in the fire department, 27 in the dispatch center. All of them are covered by the mandate because they're licensed EMS providers. The strain of the COVID-19 pandemic and other pressures associated with the vaccine mandate have resulted in more vacancies, only adding to the strain of the EMS system as a whole. More than the 2 or 3 you've mentioned in each station? The chief said the loss of manpower and experience due to the mandate will likely cause problems for years to come. Bullshit. The vacancies that you have will cause that problem. God damn, this is stupid. All right, so there's a value to breaking down that part of it.